There's no one right way to design. Design thinking is an approach to problem solving when we don't fully understand what the problem is and we can't anticipate what solutions might look like in advance. Here at MIT, design thinking is used in the mechanical engineering department to create new products, in the MIT Media Lab to develop new software, in the Sloan School of Management to imagine new businesses, and in many other places across the campus. In all of these different schools and departments, people describe their approach to design differently. But what every approach has in common is the belief that innovation fundamentally comes through iteration. One of my favorite ideas about design comes from Benjamin Irwin, who wrote a book about Lego Mindstorms. Ben explains that building a robot that works involves building a robot that doesn't work and then figuring out what's wrong with it. To me, that captures the spirit of prototyping, testing, and refining. Even with this common spirit, during the interviews and case studies in this course, you'll hear different terms that are used to describe different parts of the design thinking process. The specific vocabulary for each of these general steps varies. Sometimes people talk about understanding, sometimes they talk about empathizing, sometimes people talk about testing, sometimes people talk about playing. But the same underlying concepts that are underneath all of this different vocabulary. So for this course, we've developed a design thinking process that influences our design work here at MIT's Teaching Systems Lab and connects to the engineering design process practiced by MIT professors who we've interviewed for this course. We've chosen a language that we found accessible both to very young students as well as to teachers and school leaders. For the assignments and exercises in this course, we'll use a design process with 6 phases: discover, focus, imagine, prototype, try, and then reflect and share. To begin unpacking any problem, we need to begin by understanding the people, context, and challenges around that problem. Our process begins with discover. In this stage, designers get to know their users' wants and needs through interviews, research, and observation. The goal of this stage is for designers to develop enough of an understanding of a user's life and context to design from a place of empathy. In the focus stage, designers narrow in on an area of interest or find something that sparks their curiosity. It's where they identify and set some boundaries around a challenge to find a problem that's actionable and can anchor their subsequent design work. In the next stage, imagine, designers then brainstorm possible solutions. It's important that this stage be just that, imaginative. There's a wide range of solutions to any problem, and this is a stage in which designers should feel like they can propose any new ideas without judgment. In the next stage, prototype, designers begin the iterative process of building solutions. The goal of a prototype is to create something that articulates a designer's hypothesis. Prototypes can be sketches, models, devices, drafts, storyboards, software wireframes, or anything else that lets a user interact with a solution idea. The designer tests their prototype with users in the next stage, try, in order to identify what parts of their solution work and what parts can be improved. After trying something out, designers reflect on their efforts and share their insights with others. Often these phases of prototyping, trying, and reflecting and sharing need to happen over and over again for solutions to improve. Sometimes in this process, you'll come to a better understanding of a user or a context of a challenge, and that requires you to go back to the beginning and rethink the whole problem. We draw the design process as a cycle, but it really involves lots of cycles of iteration nested within a larger process. The early phases of the process, discover, focus, to some extent the beginning of imagine, they're all about problem finding, understanding what kinds of problems would be worth addressing. The later phases of the process, imagine, prototype, try, and reflect and share, are how designers iterate through different ideas to find effective solutions. As the saying goes, the map is not the territory. We shouldn't confuse the representation for the actual process of design thinking, which is messy, contingent, and contextual. Design thinking isn't a precise set of steps or a recipe, but this representation of our process helps create a common language to get us started.